Everything we've done so far is now about to be tested. Splitting the car in half, fixing the broken gearbox mounting, putting the car back together, repairing the interior, fitting the airbags, making the radiators, the front end, even the exhaust, are all about to be tested for the first time properly.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if one ordinary garage challenged some of the biggest names in the supercar world? Imagine buying a car that costs millions of dollars, crashing it so badly that almost everyone believes it is beyond repair, and then deciding not to send it back to the company that built it. Instead, you roll into a small workshop, pick up a few tools, and start taking it apart piece by piece while millions of people watch every step online. It sounds like something from a movie, but this is exactly the situation that placed YouTube creator Mat Armstrong in the middle of one of the biggest debates the automotive world has seen in years. What started as another ambitious rebuild quickly turned into a story about control, engineering, trust, and the changing relationship between car manufacturers and independent creators. On one side stood Bugatti, one of the world's most famous luxury car makers, insisting that a damaged chiron should only be repaired using factory-approved methods. On the other side stood Mat Armstrong, a mechanic and content creator whose reputation was built on proving that impossible projects can become reality with enough skill, patience, and determination. As millions of viewers followed every episode of Rebuild, the discussion grew far beyond one damaged hypercar. People began asking whether owners truly control the vehicles they purchase, whether manufacturers should decide who's allowed to repair them, and whether the internet is changing the rules that have guided the automotive industry for decades. Then something unexpected happened. While Bugatti remained firm in its position, another legendary hypercar manufacturer appeared to take a completely different approach. Koenigsegg reached out with a gesture that surprised both Mat Armstrong and his audience. Instead of closing the door, the Swedish company seemed interested in opening one. That single moment sparked endless discussions across social media, with many wondering if the future of luxury car brands would depend not only on engineering excellence, but also on how they work with modern creators. Suddenly, this was no longer just a story about rebuilding an expensive car. It became a battle between old traditions and new ideas, between strict corporate control and the growing influence of independent experts who share every success and every mistake with millions of viewers around the world. The excitement grew even larger because Mat Armstrong was no stranger to difficult projects. Before touching the Bugatti Chiron per Sport, he had already rebuilt crashed Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Aston Martins, and Porsches that many people believed would never drive again. Each successful rebuild earned him more respect from fans, while also drawing more attention from the manufacturers whose cars appeared on his channel. Some companies welcomed the exposure, while others remained cautious about independent repairs being shown to such a large audience. As the Bugatti project progressed, every new episode added another layer to the story. It was no longer simply about replacing damaged parts or fixing mechanical problems. It became a test of ideas, a test of confidence, and a test of whether one determined creator could challenge beliefs that had existed inside the automotive industry for generations. By the time millions of viewers realized what was happening, the debate had expanded far beyond one garage in Leicester. It was now being discussed by car enthusiasts, collectors, engineers, business leaders, and even people who had never cared much about supercars before. Everyone wanted the answer to one question. Could independent builders truly compete with some of the world's most advanced manufacturers, or would the companies prove that certain machines should only ever be repaired behind factory doors? That question would shape everything that followed, and the answer turned out to be far more surprising than anyone expected. Mat Armstrong's journey toward becoming one of the most recognized automotive creators on YouTube did not begin with million-dollar hypercars. Like many people who love cars, he started with simple projects, learning by taking things apart, making mistakes, and improving his skills one repair at a time. Over the years, he developed a reputation for tackling vehicles that most mechanics would never even consider saving. Instead of buying perfect cars, he searched for heavily damaged ones that insurance companies had written off. While many people saw twisted metal and broken parts, Mat saw an opportunity to prove that careful planning, hard work, and engineering knowledge could bring them back to life. His videos were never just about fixing cars. They showed every challenge, every unexpected problem, and every small victory along the way. Viewers watch him struggle with seized bolts, damaged electronics, missing parts, and complicated repairs that sometimes took weeks or even months to complete. This honest approach made his audience feel like they were part of the journey, rather than simply watching the final result. As his channel grew, so did the size and complexity of his projects. He rebuilt high-performance Porsches, restored expensive Aston Martins, repaired Ferraris, and even rescued luxury SUVs that had been badly flooded. Each successful rebuild increased his confidence and attracted millions of new viewers who wanted to see whether he could overcome the next impossible challenge. One of his biggest turning points came when he purchased a badly damaged Lamborghini Revuelto, one of the most advanced hybrid supercars ever built. The project immediately caught the attention of car enthusiasts around the world because the Revuelto combines a powerful V12 engine with complex electric systems that few independent workshops had ever worked on. The rebuild was far more than replacing broken body panels. Every electrical connection, cooling system, sensor, and control unit had to function perfectly before the car could return to the road. During this project, Mat publicly explained that Lamborghini had concerns about parts of the rebuild being shown on camera. According to his account, the company warned that filming certain procedures could affect future support for the vehicle. Instead of backing away, Mat chose to continue documenting the process, while remaining open about the conversations taking place behind the scenes. He explained that whatever happened, viewers deserved to see the truth. If Lamborghini decided to help, that would become part of the story. If they refused, that would also become part of the story. This attitude reflected the philosophy that had helped build his channel. Rather than hiding disagreements or presenting only polished success stories, he believed people wanted to see the complete picture, including setbacks and difficult conversations. Eventually, the situation eased, but it showed how different the priorities of manufacturers and independent creators could be. For companies that spend billions building carefully managed brand images, allowing someone outside the factory to dismantle one of their newest flagship cars can feel risky. For Mat, however, openness is exactly what his audience expects. Soon after the Lamborghini project, another challenge appeared when he tried to buy a Manti performance kit for his Porsche GT3 RS. This time the issue was different. Because the car had a recorded accident history, obtaining certain factory parts became far more difficult than expected. Weeks turned into months as he worked through inspections and discussions before finally receiving approval. Mat later shared that once his videos attracted significant attention, Porsche's attitude seemed to become much more positive, with company representatives showing interest in being involved. Whether intentional or simply a change in circumstances, the experience reinforced a lesson that would become important later. In Mat's view, many manufacturers only recognize the value of creator partnerships after millions of people had already watched the story unfold. By the time cooperation arrived, the most important chapter had already been written. These experiences with Lamborghini and Porsche prepared him for something even bigger. They taught him patience, strengthened his confidence, and showed him how difficult it could be to work with companies that wanted to protect their technology and reputation. Little did he know that the next project waiting for him, a heavily damaged Bugatti Chiron Sport, would transform his earlier disagreements into a worldwide discussion about ownership, engineering, and the future relationship between luxury car manufacturers and independent creators. The Bugatti Chiron Sport was unlike anything Mat Armstrong had worked on before. Every project in his career had taught him something new, but this car represented an entirely different level of engineering, value, and public attention. The Chiron Sport is one of the rarest hypercars ever built, with only a very small number produced for customers around the world. Powered by an incredible quad-turbocharged W16 engine capable of producing astonishing performance, the car was designed with one goal in mind: to push the limits of automotive engineering. Every part of it, from the carbon fiber structure to the suspension, gearbox, cooling systems, electronics, and aerodynamics, was carefully developed to handle extreme speeds and enormous power. Because of this, many people believe that repairing such a machine outside an official Bugatti facility would be nearly impossible. When news spread that a badly crashed Chiron Sport had been purchased for an independent rebuild, the automotive community reacted immediately. Some people were excited, believing Mat Armstrong was about to create the most impressive project of his career. Others thought the challenge was simply too great and predicted the car would never return to the road. The damaged vehicle had originally belonged to automotive enthusiast Alex Gonzalez, better known online as FX Alex G. Only a short time after buying the rare hypercar, it was involved in a serious accident that caused extensive damage. Like many owners of extremely valuable vehicles, Alex received an insurance settlement after crash. At that point, the easiest solution would have been to let the damaged car disappear into storage or be sold as salvage. Instead, he made a very different decision, believing the car deserved another chance. He bought it back and began searching for someone willing to attempt what many considered impossible. That search eventually led him to Mat Armstrong. Their partnership immediately became one of the most talked about stories in the automotive world because it challenged long-standing beliefs about who should be allowed to repair ultra-expensive vehicles. The decision was bold, but it also carried enormous risks. If the rebuild failed, critics would argue that Bugatti had been right all along. If it succeeded, it could change how people viewed independent mechanics forever. The biggest challenge was not simply replacing broken parts. The car had suffered significant structural damage, and every repair would require careful planning. Carbon fiber construction is very different from traditional steel or aluminum. Damage is not always visible on the surface, and hidden cracks can affect the strength of the entire structure. The gearbox mounting, suspension components, cooling systems, wiring, and safety equipment all require detailed inspection before any repair work could even begin. Every step had to be documented carefully because millions of viewers would be watching and analyzing the process. As excitement grew, Bugatti also entered the conversation. The company's leadership publicly explained why it believed repairs of this kind should only be carried out using factory-approved procedures. From Bugatti's perspective, safety came first. A hypercar capable of traveling at extraordinary speeds cannot be treated like an ordinary vehicle. Company representatives explained that specialized equipment, trained technicians, and factory testing procedures exist for a reason. Certain repairs involve complex measurements, structural inspections, and calibration processes that standard workshops may not have. They also pointed out that systems such as airbags, electronics, and carbon fiber components require precise engineering to perform correctly in future accidents. These explanations found support among many engineers and enthusiasts who agreed that safety should never be compromised, especially in a car of such value and performance. At the same time, others questioned whether factory control over repairs had gone too far. They wondered whether owners who legally purchased these cars should have the freedom to choose where and how repairs were completed. This disagreement quickly expanded beyond one damaged Bugatti. It became part of a much larger discussion about ownership rights, access to replacement parts, and a growing movement supporting independent repair businesses. Mat Armstrong found himself standing in the middle of this debate. Rather than responding with long public arguments, he focused on what he knew best, working on the car. Episode after episode, viewers watched him carefully disassemble the Chiron, inspect damaged components, solve unexpected problems, and move steadily toward a goal that many believed was impossible. With every bolt removed and every damaged part examined, the rebuild became more than just another YouTube project. It became a real-world test of whether determination, technical skill, and independent engineering could challenge some of the oldest traditions in the world of high-performance automobiles. As Mat Armstrong continued taking the Bugatti Chiron per sport apart, the debate surrounding the project only became more intense. What had started as an exciting rebuild was now attracting attention from engineers, mechanics, collectors, automotive journalists, and millions of viewers across social media. Every new video sparked fresh discussions. Some people praised Mat's confidence and technical skills, believing he was proving that talented independent workshops could perform work that many thought only manufacturers were capable of handling. Others remained cautious, arguing that rebuilding a car of this complexity required far more than mechanical experience. They believed that certain factory procedures existed for good reasons, and that following them helped protect both the driver and the reputation of the brand. Bugatti publicly explained its position by focusing on engineering and safety rather than internet popularity. Company representatives pointed out that the Chiron was built to perform at speeds well above 250 miles per hour, meaning every structural component, electronic system, and safety feature had to work exactly as designed. Even a very small mistake during a repair could have serious consequences if the car were ever driven at its full performance. Hidden damage inside the carbon fiber chassis, cracks around important mounting points, damaged gearbox housings, or improperly calibrated airbags could create risks that might not be visible during a normal inspection. From Bugatti's point of view, these concerns justified restricting certain repairs to factory-approved facilities equipped with specialized tools and highly trained technicians. Their explanation made sense to many people who understood how advanced modern hypercars had become. Unlike ordinary vehicles, a Bugatti is built using technologies, materials, and manufacturing methods that only a handful of companies in the world can produce. However, while some viewers accept the Bugatti's reasoning, others believe the discussion was becoming about more than safety alone. They question why independent workshops sometimes struggled to purchase even cosmetic replacement parts that had nothing to do with structural repairs. If an owner legally purchased a vehicle, should that owner also have the right to buy replacement components without unnecessary restrictions? This question quickly connected the Bugatti story to the larger right to repair movement that had already affected industries ranging from smartphones and farm equipment to tractors and consumer electronics. Around the world, many consumers have been arguing that manufacturers should not have complete control over repairs after a product had been sold. The Bugatti rebuild suddenly became one of the highest-profile automotive examples of that debate. Mat Armstrong rarely responded with lengthy online arguments. Instead, he allowed the work itself to answer many of the questions being raised. His videos carefully documented each stage of the rebuild, showing damaged components, explaining why certain repairs were necessary, and demonstrating the methods used to solve complex engineering problems. Rather than pretending every step was easy, he openly shared setbacks whenever they happened. Missing parts caused delays. Unexpected damage required new solutions. Certain components had to be repaired instead of replaced because factory replacements were unavailable. This honesty became one of the strongest reasons why millions of viewers trusted his content. They could see both the successes and the failures instead of only polished highlights. As more episodes were released, viewers watched one of the most difficult stages of the rebuild unfold, separating the front and rear sections of the Chiron. This process attracted enormous attention because it had often been described as one of the most specialized procedures involved in servicing the car. Watching an independent workshop carefully complete such a complicated task surprised many people who had assumed it could only be done inside an official Bugatti facility. At the same time, Mat repeatedly emphasized the importance of patience, careful measurements, and learning every system before making permanent repairs. The project was never presented as something that should be rushed. Every bolt, wiring connection, coolant line, hydraulic component, and electronic module had to be documented before reassembly could begin. As weeks turned into months, the rebuild slowly transformed from a damaged shell into something that once again resembled a complete automobile. More importantly, public opinion also began to shift. Many viewers who had originally doubted the project started believing that the impossible might actually become reality. They saw a dedicated team solving one engineering challenge after another without giving up, even when progress seemed painfully slow. Whether people agreed with Bugatti's position or supported Mat Armstrong's approach, almost everyone recognized that they were witnessing one of the most ambitious independent automotive rebuilds ever documented on YouTube. The project was no longer just entertaining content. It had become an important conversation about engineering, ownership, transparency, and the future relationship between manufacturers and the growing community of skilled creators who were changing how millions of people learn about the world's most advanced automobiles. While the Bugatti rebuild continued to capture headlines, something unexpected happened that shifted the conversation in an entirely new direction. Until that point, most of the attention had focused on disagreements between Mat Armstrong and several major manufacturers. Viewers had watched him face challenges involving Lamborghini, deal with delays while trying to obtain Porsche parts, and navigate Bugatti's cautious approach toward independent repairs. Many people assumed that other hypercar companies would react in a similar way by keeping their distance from such a public project. Instead, one of Bugatti's biggest rivals appeared to send a very different message. Koenigsegg, the Swedish hypercar manufacturer founded by Christian von Koenigsegg, surprised Mat Armstrong with a thoughtful package that quickly became a talking point across the automotive community. The package itself was not filled with expensive car parts or a formal partnership agreement. Instead, it contained premium company merchandise along with a personal note, encouraging Mat to explore Koenigsegg's engineering videos and technical content. On the surface, this may have seemed like a simple public relations gesture, but many viewers believed it represented something much more meaningful. Rather than treating an independent creator as someone to avoid, Koenigsegg appeared willing to acknowledge his passion for engineering and his ability to explain complex mechanical ideas to millions of people. This difference in attitude immediately stood out because it contrasted sharply with the experiences Mat had described while working on other manufacturers' vehicles. Koenigsegg has always been known for doing things differently. Unlike larger companies that produce thousands of vehicles every year, Koenigsegg builds only a very small number of hypercars annually. Every model is assembled with extraordinary attention to detail, using advanced technology that often pushes the limits of automotive innovation. Despite its exclusivity, the company has built a reputation for openly discussing engineering ideas with enthusiasts. Christian von Koenigsegg himself has frequently appeared in interviews and technical presentations, explaining the thinking behind the company's engines, transmissions, suspension systems, and aerodynamic designs in language that passionate car fans can understand. Because of this culture of openness, many people viewed the package sent to Mat Armstrong as a natural extension of the company's philosophy. Instead of simply promoting products, Koenigsegg seemed interested in encouraging curiosity about how its cars actually worked. For Mat, the gesture was unexpected because he had never rebuilt a Koenigsegg and had never owned one. Most of his biggest projects involved Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Aston Martins, Porsches, and now Bugatti. Yet it was a company with no direct connection to his previous builds that chose to recognize his work. As he opened the package on camera, his genuine surprise was easy to see. He appreciated not only the merchandise, but also the fact that someone inside one of the world's most respected hypercar companies had taken the time to acknowledge the educational value of his content. His audience quickly noticed the difference as well. Social media discussions exploded with comparisons between Koenigsegg's friendly approach and the more cautious attitude shown by some other manufacturers. Many viewers argued that modern car companies should see creators like Mat Armstrong as valuable partners rather than potential problems. Millions of young enthusiasts learn about engineering through YouTube videos instead of traditional television or printed magazines. Watching a complete rebuild allows viewers to understand how these extraordinary machines function in ways that glossy advertisements rarely achieve. Of course, others pointed out that sending merchandise is not the same